Alright, first shift of the game. Usually it's exciting. We'll see if it's still the case. So far, it's looking like it's not so exciting. Okay, well, I stand corrected. Let's just rewind there just a split. So, at this point, number 16, this should likely be Ray's responsibility as at center. We can see Lena's kind of there, which is good, but it doesn't kind of alleviate Ray from that responsibility. And we can see Fionn got beat wide, and at this point, actually, let's just rewind all the way. So the moment Fionn, you get beat wide like that, is usually when you and your D partner are going to kind of switch off from each other. So you get beat, Kathy will now want to start pressuring this player, right? And kind of keep them contained out. And at that point, you will want to come in and swap out with her. So you almost kind of switch sides at that moment. But, in general, this is still okay. This kind of doesn't, what we would probably want to see is Kathy comes in, and then Fionn, you come in to cover out, double team up on this forward, and we'll usually also expect a third forward coming in. So you'll kind of be between yourself and Ray to figure that out. So we see kind of like a chance there, just a result of being a little bit slow on that. So things were definitely exciting. Ray comes zooming down. Let's see what happens here. Got a little bit of forechecking pressure. And Kathy is able to get the puck off of this player. Now, the good thing I can see right away is you can see their forward is really spaced out, right? And as we've said before, anything with like this kind of distance, so long as you are staying close to them, so Kathy was relatively close to number 16, is that when a pass comes in like this, oftentimes you're going to have a really nice opportunity where you can just step out in front and walk into it and intercept it quite nicely, or at worst you just make their life miserable and take the puck off of them just like that. So that's a good thing to see. And the other thing is you want to make sure they're not behind you, generally speaking. So here we see Fee's able to skate a lot of open ice coming into the zone. The only thing I don't like is how she's coming in, right? We should be treating this like any other forward. So someone's got to be driving that net, or at least getting close to it. But we can see we got that nice single line formation. Like, what is this? Just like that, I would say if Ray was there driving that net, pretty good opportunity to score right there. So missed opportunity for sure, just for him being a little slow and cruising. And let's continue. This is no whistle still. Lena's got it. It's coming in. And covered. Alright, cool. First shift. Kind of eventful. So a little later on down the road in the game, the thing I'd like to highlight, of course, is Alex is doing something that Ray didn't do. And he's kind of getting to the net. Now, the interesting thing is, so Alicia's coming in, cutting in to the middle, and Alex is still kind of doing his little sneak attack where getting behind the player. I'm not sure, like, Yeah, not really in a really good prime position to score, right? You're if you're up their backside, also your stick is going to be in a really awkward position, right? Because the only way you spin around is really can't, right? Because your stick's going to get stuck on that player. So I feel like how I would have maybe changed it to be much better. I guess it also depends on your kind of gauge on how aggressive you want to be in terms of screening the goalie. But I would have definitely considered what you would do is cruise along. Like, you don't have to actually cut across really quickly, but you're gonna cruise across. So just slowly dip across, and as you're gonna time it so once Alicia kind of gets into this zone, right, you're gonna cut across his frame. So you'll hit, like, let's say you hit this point when Alicia's here, and you're hitting that point when she's here, right? So you're kind of cutting across, and though that way you're just creating that momentary blindness for the goalie to annoy him, and also you kind of be in a really nice position to grab rebounds, if anything. So that's something to consider. Yeah, let's cut it there for now. So this one was this is hilarious coming up. So number 23 comes in. Alicia this 23 guy must be pissed. So Alicia comes in for the poke check. Yeah, and we also, I've kind of said before, if you're trying to cut to the middle, it's like a death sentence. You're just asking for trouble in the sense that let's say there is a body here, you're literally inviting to get smoked, even accidentally. And in full body like contact hockey, it's like a death sentence. You're just asking for your shit to be rocked, right? So Alicia comes in for a poke check, but obviously gets knocked off balance. It's just from the nature of cutting to the middle, right? And like I said, it's a death sentence for number 23. Let's say anyone bigger or heavier, 23 is just going to get absolutely creamed, even accidentally, right? And then he gets knocked over by his other. We gotta watch this again. This is hilarious. Looks down, like, man, that's my own team. Ridiculous. Dave's first shift on the ice, and I week by week gotta roast him every time he does this. The Dave tornado is back. Let's go. Alright, here after that, Dave had a little bit of a puck battle. Ooh. Looked like a red tape. Let me just confirm that. Maybe we got away from that a little bit, but okay. Justin comes in, shot, just missed the corner. I think right here, the moment we kind of missed it, and Dave doesn't really have firm control of it just yet. Justin is here. That's okay, but we just gotta have him ready to shift behind the net ASAP. So kind of just watching how Dave moves from there, and I think right here Alicia would want to shift to good old magic spot, get a little nice triangle going on. So yeah, Dave couldn't really get a good handle on it, and we can see kind of Alicia, you're backing up. So I think if she was here, would be a really nice position. If anything opens up. Now, Kathy could also opt to scoot up like that as well, if she wants to go for the hyper aggressive attack. There's no need to at this moment, but sometimes on occasion it can open up. I would say I would wait until you see Dave has firm control. Like if there's a situation, then that's when you kind of start creeping up. So that's something to consider. Just continuing with that, and let's do a quick rewind to watch some banana peels on the ice. So we see Jordan Hanna, the infamous kid in the VHL, beats Fionn with speed, goes in, a little dangle, and goal. Fine, it's whatever. He's obvious skill difference, not a big deal. But okay, let's kind of rewind a little bit. What could we do differently? Is there anything we could do differently to maybe prevent this goal, even given the skill difference? Okay, so first of all, we see we're backing up, and so the first thing we can work on certainly is kind of controlling that gap, right? And we could say Fionn's a little bit big right now, and she is trying to close it down by slowing down, which is we can understand. And the other second part is, I've kind of preached about this, the blue line, the magical blue line, and we're like, in all things, it looks like we're lining up for that. Now the big problem is if we don't attack them at that blue line. So the first problem is that gap control, right? The gap's too big. That's kind of the first part of the problem. And then because the gap's too big, you will see how at some point Fionn and Kathy are actually going to slow down too much that they've almost become flat-footed. And that's really a two-part equation to that. One was, like I said, the gap is too big. Number two is they have, we've built that mindset of if we can hold that blue, it is preferable, right? And then so they now they're clashing, right? We're the gap's too big, we're trying to close it up, we're trying to attack the blue line, now we've become flat-footed. So that's really kind of set that situation up, right? And because of that, he is able to do a little bit of an angle. Now there's space, right? You got that open up space. Now let's rewind this a little bit more. So could we do something even better? If we can try to discourage him from coming this way, we're just really pushing him into the boards, that would be even better, right? And so we can kind of see that we are encouraging him to go that way, but we can kind of see how Fionn has backed up but moving more towards the middle, right? And really what happens is it opens up a big lane to the wide, right? So she doesn't have that ability to really angle him off. So it's just a lot of compounding things. It's that puts her in a more vulnerable position. So what can we do to improve upon this? Okay, so number one is, let's go all the way back to here. So she started her retreat. We could say you could start it a little bit later, is number one. But understandably, we have Jordan coming up. He's a quick guy, and the skill difference in skating, like Fionn's backward skating versus Jordan's forward skating, probably we're talking multi-tiers difference, right? So this is fine. For any other player, opponent that you're facing, we could probably consider starting the retreat a little bit later, a little bit more delayed per se. And that would help you kind of close up that gap, like control that gap a little bit better, but while maintaining backwards momentum. Now, if you ever find yourself in a position where the gap is just way too big and you're not going to be able to hold them at that blue line, right? Unless you start lunging forward, it's probably usually better to just actually maintain that backwards momentum so that they can't drive to the net like this, right? So like I said, Kathy and Fiona both got caught a little bit flat-footed, and you can kind of see just right here how they really slowed down here. And there, it's that flat-footedness. If they could have just continued backward skating, right, then maybe we had more of a chance to prevent them from driving the net. But overall, I don't think it was any big mistakes. It's just more of a skill difference. And these are just kind of like points that I would probably think about for the future on, could I stack more advantages for myself to maybe have a chance to prevent a goal, or at least prevent them from cutting across the net, right? If they beat you but you're forcing them around the net, I would take that as a win, right? They're in the zone, but there's no kind of breakaway. So those are some thoughts there. All right, so this one is for Lena or any other beginner skaters in general. And you know what, at first let's just focus on Lena here. And so she snowplow stops, turns around, turns back around, turns around again, turns around again, right? And key things here. Number one, to do that is extremely tiring. It's actually, to be in a standstill and like doing a lot of pirouettes, it's exhausting. And number two, it's really difficult to see the play. And number three, it's very hard to receive a pass like this. So those are some elements that are really, they're just stacked disadvantages, right? So what would I recommend, or like, well, here are my thoughts on this. So the first thing is, if you see Ray is able to get the puck, the first thing is I'd probably avoid doing a snowplow stop at this time, and rather I would say you want to actually cruise and continue down a little bit, and then start turning a little bit, and then going towards the boards, and then start coming up the boards. Now, there is going to be that period of time from here to here where you're going to have your back turned to the play. But from there, the advantage is you're going to be all the way out here, and your head's going to be able to kind of see a really large viewing angle of the play rather than here. So now part two to that equation. So if you can avoid stopping, it's usually going to be more energy efficient, right? As you can coast, you don't need to spend energy accelerating, you don't need to spend energy stopping, so you're going to actually get a lot less tired. Now, part two to this is, boom, this turning, this turning, this turning again. That gets really, really tiring. At least I think it would be really, really tiring. And how do we combat that is, if we were actually starting out over here and coming and just forward skating, you're just cruising up, forward skating, all you need to do is now turn your head, look at the play. Like, so you don't need to turn around as much, you don't need to pivot. Super easy. Like, just imagine this body position. We'll just cut that and we paste it over here, right? And so let's draw this little head. Instead of having to like really crank your neck back to view this, it would actually really just be more like this. You can see a lot more. And then on top of that, just think of it this way, a pass coming across this way behind us. So let's say this is 90 degrees, pass is coming behind us, right? More difficult, which usually will require what? A pivot. And again, it's also more difficult versus if you were wider. So we'll draw that same 90 degrees, head facing this way, right? The pass is coming this way, or even better if he can lead it to you, it's always going to be in that forehand position. It's just much easier to receive. So that's a few thoughts. Again, we're trying to avoid, if we can avoid stopping, if we can avoid pivoting, it's generally going to be more energy efficient, and you can actually move around a lot quicker that way. And you should be able to receive passes much easier as well. All right, so this was a question. I'm pretty sure this is what Kathy was referring to. So there was a situation where Ray is behind the net with the puck, and he's the centerman. And Kathy brought up the question was, if Ray's behind the net with the puck, and he's not the D, should she perhaps consider coming up and filling them in the center? And I said, yeah, you could. Possibly. And it's not a bad play. Actually, what we're doing right here, I think is perfectly fine as well. So Ray could come over here, he can start skating up, goes back out. Makes a lot of sense. Another thing you could definitely do is, like, let's say Ray's behind the net and there's zero pressure, right? What he could do is leave the puck there, and then the D comes in and skates with, like, picks it up. There's a lot of like different options. This is really kind of up to you. You see what space there is. We could even say Fiona could start coming up. What's important, the number one, is giving available options, right? If there's forechecking pressure coming in, boom, right onto Ray, does he have the ability to pass it out to people? And in this case, I would say yes. There's two options at the very least that are conservative, and then our wingers are starting to come down a bit. I would say it would be preferable for Thomas to come down a little bit lower, but he's on the weak side. I would say he can add a little bit more leeway here. But yeah, to answer the question, it's always that magical it depends. More importantly is, are we giving Ray options? Whoever has the puck behind the net, are we giving him options to pass to? If we are, then what you're doing is perfectly fine. So here is another example where gap's a bit big, right? Gap's a bit big, and we can actually draw back to the example of with Fiona and Kathy, where I said gap's a bit big, and we weren't able to challenge him on the blue line. Now, the worst thing Ernest could do is, if at this gap is this big, is he lunges forward to stop him at that blue line, right? And that really puts him vulnerable to, chip around, go around, and then it's a free lane to the net. And I said, if your gap's too big and you're finding yourself not being able to challenge at the blue line, that's then continue your backwards momentum. Okay, because it's going to put you in a position where at least you're going to prevent him from driving the net, because that's going to be the most dangerous chance. Now, because he's given up too much space, it does lead up to some other risks, right? And that is, boom, he has too much room to operate with, and so he cuts to the middle, and because of that, he's able to get a shot off, right? Now, we can argue this is a way better option for Cliff, Like he would way rather prefer this a shot at the the high slot than it is to have him with a breakaway coming in and dangling his pants off, right? And in this case, I would say if you went back to with Fiona and Kathy, if they just kept backwards skating and did this, if you let Jordan come in but prevent him from driving the net, it may be a more preferable situation, right? He might still score, but it's still like you're in a better position than if he just went around you, right? So perfect like ideal is Ernest is up in his face, ready to poke check him here, starting like roughly around here if we freeze framed it, and then but still backward skating, poke check, poke check, poke check, poke check, right? So ideal would be here, but and then if you can't do that, if your gap's too big, then continue backwards momentum, prevent him from driving the net. But just knowing the caveat that you leave yourself open to these kind of risks, right? So that's just some more examples there for defense. So this one was a solid read, and okay. So in the past, I've said I really would advise having our wingers come down low, right? At least like here. And number 16 on the Dragons takes that advice and just throws it out the window, right? Cranks it up to the extreme. He's gonna be picking cherries left, right, and center up at center ice, right? And I said, if that's the case, they are just prime for the picking to abuse. And what do I mean by that? That means their D has to be desperate, right? What do they have to do? They have to bank it off the glass. They gotta throw it off the boards, and boom, just like that. How easy is that? We can just walk up, easy pickings. Now in this case, Kathy couldn't get a good handle on it. That's not really the case. It's just that you can see right here, she has the step advantage, right? Boom, just comes in, able to keep it in the zone. If she was able to cleanly skate in with it, right? Big offensive chance, wide open lane to the net. So that is exactly what I mean. We tend to not want to be floating up in the neutral zone unless there's a really open lane for a pass to get to you. Now here's another situation. So the puck gets dumped in and red tape touches it first. And Justin asked me, are we allowed to take the pucks off the red tape? Now within the rules, we are, because they are not in the red tape zone. So that's that red line to red line is where we can't touch them. And yes, theoretically, you can take the puck off of them in this zone. Now, it's on one hand, it's a case that, yeah, maybe you can stick lift them and whatever. If we got, we're like trying to cycle, there's board battles, 50-50 chances, right? And I was saying, if it was me, I would probably let the red tapes have it here, because it's just a puck dump. They touched it first. There's no reason to really go in there and strip the puck off of them. It is well within the rules that you could. I just wouldn't. So that's kind of like your choice. If you want to, you can. Like, and I would say there's a lot of what's it called? Maybe is nuance the right word for it? If you know them, they're higher skilled level red tape. Then yeah, by all means, go for it. If they're a beginner or you don't know them, then I would say just let them have it. It's whatever, right? We're not playing for money or anything like that, so take it easy. And of course, just to show, Justin did not take the puck off her and let her skate. So yeah, I think right decision. Here is, I think, a tip for Lena. So she's turning. So yeah, Kathy's coming up and Lena's turning, right? And then she peers behind her, turns this way, but the puck's coming up this way. Now, what I would recommend as a winger on the right hand side is turn, right? And actually, in this situation, the best spot to receive the puck is probably going to be off the boards and you skate into it, right? And if that's the case, what I actually recommend, or just like if there's a specific spot you want it, what I would recommend is you turn and you actually start pointing with your stick. So you just lift it up, point it, aim. It's like, oh, I want it over here, I want it over here, bounce it off the boards. And you just actually start skating up and don't even look behind you, just look in front of you. And with that kind of stick point, you're already communicating to your defenseman. It's like, hey, bounce it off the boards, I want it off the boards. And just by focusing, you're skating up, focusing on the boards. If that comes, it comes. If it doesn't, then you just know that that puck did not bounce off the boards. But in this situation, it's going to put you in a really good spot to be. You don't need a turn like this, right? And then you won't be caught on a surprise. So just something to suggest. So Justin had a huge chance right here after Ray shot, big rebound. Bonks it back under the goalie's pads. I don't think he even moved. I said if Justin does not score a goal this game, he's gonna have nightmares for the whole week. Prime example we talked about last week, skating towards the passer. Boom. Oh my god, how easy is that, right? You don't need to stop, you don't need to do anything, you're saving energy, it's passing is easy, you know exactly, like the passer knows exactly where to aim at, right? No need to stop, you're looking at the pass the whole way through, you receive, you turn, right? No stopping required, simple, efficient, right? Super easy to do. So just a little repeat from last week. So here is an example of what we can do to stop this player. So we're trying to angle him to the boards, right? And I would say this is more of a key factor for Fionn, but we could even say Alex as well. And that kind of concept of we're trying to bring him to the wall, right? And the defense is going to be acting as that wall essentially. And so as we continue to rub them towards the boards, we want to expect, we can even call it like a hammer and an anvil, right? We're bringing in that hammer, and then we're trying to close them off with the boards as that anvil, where they're going to eventually run into somebody. Like, you don't need to body check them per se, but you're going to need to kind of be there physically to try to poke check them off, right? And so the mistake is, as we're going towards the boards, right, we're driving them towards the boards because Alex is too far in the middle, right? Now I can't continue, otherwise I'm going to risk running into Alex. And so and then because he's not there serving as that anvil or the wall, he can just skate around you, right? So that's like the small little mistake. We could say in this situation, perhaps Fionn should have been that one to act as a wall. So what we would want to see starting from about here is she's actually going to start cruising across. And then eventually right about here, he's going to run into Fionn, ready to poke check him, right? And so that would be like the first ideal. Now, if it's not her, we could say Alex was kind of in that backwards position. If he was able to just shift across as we're driving him across, then it's an easy stop. So let's continue. There was another big chance. So caught puck watching way too much. No. So at this point, Fionn should be starting to put pressure onto Jordan. And big trouble coming up behind the back doors, and Kathy's way too focused on that. So backward skating would have been able to see number 9, high risk right here, but she doesn't see it, right? Too busy watching the puck, oh, big chance, just like that. And that just comes with not identifying who's coming behind you. Boom, right? So dangerous chance, and that's kind of what leads up to it. So we got some big mistakes coming up on my part and on for I'd say Kathy as well. And the situation is right here. Big problem, right? And we got pressure like this, and we're focused on the heavy forecheck, right? And this is really not the time to start busting up ass, busting up the ice. Really, this could have been solved pretty quickly if Kathy was over here. A simple pressure relieving pass, just right here. Like, it's really hard to tell where Kathy is right now at this point, but the pressure relief would have been if we have so if we had Fiona as the guide point, she's actually in a really nice spot. The only thing is, I guess I couldn't get that pass over to her with how the puck was situated, but she's in a really good spot. Little chip at, like, if she's in a really good spot. If she actually goes to the boards a little bit more, it would be even better. But like, this is a really good example. She's in a really good spot, as opposed to Kathy way up here, right? So by pressure relief is if we consider both these, like let's say Kathy was off the screen over here, simple pass a little bit earlier where it just boom, little bump down with heavy pressure, right? With pressure like this, mistakes can happen. If we can see, there's a D right there, let's just send it down to there safely. It eliminates that pressure immediately, right? And then you can do D to D, blah, 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 skate it up, whatever. But because we don't have someone there, we have problems, right? And so there's forechecking pressures, I lose the puck, and then eventually, I lost it, stick lift. So that's a big mistake on my part, and then he comes in. Now, how could we avoid that is if we see pressure like this, first thing we want to think is we need to get open for them, not necessarily for offense, but how can I relieve pressure off of him? Someone's forechecking the shit out of them. Could we do anything to help him out? And my argument right here is Fiona's doing a perfect job. I didn't get the puck over to her, so that's a big mistake on my part. And then on Kathy's part, she has jumped the gun too much. And then we could say maybe the winger's a little bit high. You know, they're okay. I would say, yeah, myself and Kathy, big mistakes. Big mistakes. This one I want to highlight. Fiona, perfect job, right? Takes the puck, gets it back, safety zone. Perfect. Now the only difference, the only modification I would say is once you take it here, do a little hard stop. Just stop the puck right there, because there's not really any pressure coming down you at this moment in time. So the moment you stop there and you see, there's no pressure, then you don't need to rush this pass. So this pass, a little bit rushed, right? Pass was a little bit off the mark. Versus if you just take that extra second, boom, what are the options for me? Look, Alex is open. Kathy's not quite ready. Maybe I can buy that 1-2 seconds. No forechecking pressure right now. Maybe I could skate it up, right? Those small little things, gonna be game changer. But you know, getting back behind the net, that little safety zone, buy you that extra time. Perfect. Well done. Another banana peel on the ice today. Another banana peel on the ice. Boom! That was a big one. It was so big that Ernest got discombobulated and realized he was skating towards the wrong side of the ice. Now we got pretty good breakout coming out. Passes out in the middle ice. Justin coming in. Got lucky with that bounce, but great pass to Alicia. Big shot. Dave with the big goal. Oh my goodness. That was a pretty slick sequence right there. The sequence was pretty funny. Where he's got the puck, he's getting castled by Jordan Hanna. Oh, the puck goes off him. He still has it. He's coming in with speed. Loses it. Falls over, knocks him over. And then they can't go in until Ray comes out. Oh, couldn't quite get zone entry. But then she still gets it back. Dumps it down. But that was crazy. Okay, so second goal against. I would say this was a mistake. So red tape. I think that's Norman. I think his name is. And you can see, just pausing right here, way too conservative, right? We've kind of talked about that. The problem is if you're way too conservative, then you can't challenge them and just freely skating in, sniping in, right? Easy goal. And no one can touch him. He's red tape, except for Fiona and Alicia. And so, how do we kind of address this situation? So the first thing is, as they're coming out, we would probably want to see Fiona start getting close to that blue line. That's the first adjustment. So instead of backing up to that red line, we want to see him right around here. Then the next thing is, as they're coming in, boom, start the backwards skating. And then by the time they're about here, you're gonna be able to get at least good gap control, maybe not necessarily stopping them at the blue line, but they won't be able to skate in like this, right? And so you have this much distance to apply pressure onto them and stop them from shooting. Otherwise, this happens. Second goal against. I would say this is another mistake. So who is the danger? Is number 9, right? And so Ernest needs to cover number 9. So he gets a pass across to the boards. Now I'm not exactly sure what Ernest was going towards, right? You can see from here he starts, boom, forward skating really hard to what? I'm not completely sure. And so it puts him in a really tough spot where number 9 beats him. And now poor Emily has got to defend this player. Boom, cuts across the net. Oh my goodness, big chance, right? So mistakes were made. Maybe jumping a little too eagerly to intercept the pass there, even before the pass was made. And some more banana peels on the ice. So this whole shift was pretty solid, and we could nitpick. First nitpick is we could probably say, instead of Fiona outside of the zone, she could probably be standing around here, at least straddling around the blue line, and that way she can have a first step in, and also be able to hold onto the blue line. So that's nitpick number 1. Let's continue. Yep. Big chance. Okay. Nitpick number 2 is, I would say, Lena, if you get along the boards, it's going to be to your benefit, either to receive the pass. Now you have 2 choices. I would say get closer to the boards or go in the magic spot. Both are fine choices, but you can see you're kind of in no man's land right here, so kind of pick one between the two. Yeah, that was make sure they're ready. And if you're gonna do that, at least put it on the tape. Yeah. Okay. Dave covers. So we'll see. Let's just do a pause. Kathy came in, so Dave was able to see that and covers for her. So excellent. Nitpick number. Another nitpick. I'd say from here, I would have preferred if Justin actually opened up this way and almost positioned himself in this kind of area. Way easier pass to, okay, so like I've kind of talked before, this is a really hard pass to do, but this is a really easy pass to do, and at the same time you get a really nice angle onto the net, so why would you not take that? Keeps it in the zone. Pretty good. Big chance. Oh, Pasolina. That was a monstrous chance right there. And the play is dead from there. So after our monstrous shift, they combat it with their own monstrous shift. So, ooh, big chance for Amanda of the Dragons there. Luckily for us, she couldn't get a good handle on it. And we're still not able to break it out, right? Kind of killing some chances here, but we're not breaking it out. Still playing defense here. Long, like, now a reminder, we just had a really long shift in their zone. Now we're gonna have a really long shift in our zone. So we're all our players are dead tired. Well, I would think they're dead tired. So what the fuck happened there? I don't know how that's now. Like, yeah, could have easily been a penalty. Oh no, he just fell on his own. But that's hilarious nonetheless. Big question mark. Why are we not icing the puck? Right? You're gonna need to just dump it and go for a change anyways, right? So why don't you just ice it? Is the big question mark. And we throw it on net, right? Because you're not gonna be able to just keep in that zone. Like, you literally were in the zone for 2 minutes, then you're defending for 2 minutes, right? Theoretically, you would be dead tired. Been for almost 5 minutes now. So, you know, at that point, you're going to go for a change anyways. You're definitely not going to go for another rush on the 5th minute on the ice. So, my question would have been right about... let's say... here. Why didn't we just ice the puck, right? Or any other chances in between there. So now to rewind on some coverage is where are the worst chances? Right here. Oop, feeling caught sleeping a little bit, right? Right here, and I would say same with Kathy. She's too busy puck watching. So who are the dangerous chances? 87, number 11, so 7-11. So we're kind of, yeah, we're not kind of picking out who should we be covering. Same situation right here. Fionn gets caught a little puck watching, right? So yeah, okay, you could give Amanda a little bit of space, but definitely like the positioning wise, not great, right? A little bit of a gap there, and so forth. But otherwise, yeah. So this one was crazy. Ray comes in, pretty good chance. A bit suspicious on Jordan's reaching there. I guess he could have easily been called for hooking. But oh my god, Thomas almost scored a goal. Holy cow, makes the toe save. That was incredible. That was crazy. Oh my gosh. So close, so close. Of all the things, here's Ernest has done this the best. Like, this gap is pretty darn good if you ask me. Now, we can say this one's a red tape, so he can't touch him. But I would say that gap is mighty good. And oh, whoa, hold on a second. And Emily does an excellent job holding that blue line. This is picture perfect. My goodness. Now, we weren't able to stop them from coming in, but look at that. Offside. A little rewind. Arm up. Offside. Let's go. So the importance of that blue line hold. And then to take a whole step backwards. This is so conservative. Oh my goodness. Maybe the thought is they're gonna dump it in, but like you can see, this is just way too much space conceded. I would say at least here would be a better choice. Even then, so let's just focus on Ernest here. He's all the way back there ready to take a face off, right, as the defenseman, and which opens up how far of that distance he needs to cover just to cover that high slot. It's crazy, right? It's at least 3, 4, 5 strides. So just put in a suboptimal position, and then after that we're not watching where's the dangerous ones. Oh, missed this guy right about in front of Cliff. Ooh, got sketchy right there, right? So it could have been third goal against. Would have not been pretty. Damn it, Ray. Why do you look so good doing this? And then you fucking ruin it by stumbling. Come on, Ray. I need you to pull it together. Okay, holy shit. I didn't actually catch this on the bench. Probably too busy drinking water or what, but that was fucking sick. Look at this. Big pass by Thomas, and that's coming with fucking speed. Boom, one timer. Oh my god, Alicia. I don't think I could have done that. I would have whiffed and fallen on the ice for sure. Here's another one. The old puck watching. So again, coming in from our left side, Fionn should have been putting pressure onto them. And I would say Dave's got to be coming for covering number 00 or backdoor. He's got to make that decision. But backdoor is probably Kathy's responsibility, right? And she's being caught puck watching again, not identifying who's that backdoor threat. Oh, caught just a little bit late. Thank goodness that Cliff makes the big monster save. But this is like third, fourth time that we've been caught puck watching a little bit too much, not paying attention to what's backdoor, what is backdoor, right? So what's the threat? So here's one. Ernest keeps it in. Nice job. Ray couldn't keep it, and Ernest tries to come in and chip it back down. I would say not the wrong move. But then, yeah, we obviously put poor Emily needed to defend on a 2-on-1. Now, we're in a big benefit because this player can't score. But holy smokes, is Nathan coming in fast. So Ray as a center, he's got to focus on who's that backdoor threat. And actually, good on Emily. She identified that. Covers him. Oh my god, big stick. That was solid. Oh my god, that was solid. And then, so first threat is down. What's back? Second threat. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Ernest, where you going? Where you going, Ernest? A little bit late on that, right? But we got lucky. Nothing happened there. And well, let's keep going. Let's keep watching. Does anything happen? Ooh. Again, another thing is just be careful with how you're skating towards the boards, right? We want to try to avoid going straight towards them. If we can, take an angle, so if you fall, you're not going straight into the boards, just like that. Thankfully, it's feet first, but even feet first can be pretty dangerous, right? So just be careful with that for everyone. Pretty getting kind of sketchy here, and we're able to get it out. Yeah, again, same theme. I think just too busy puck watching. We're not kind of. You should be paying more attention to who's a threat, who's backdoor, who's in front of cliff. If they're there, just make sure they can't get the pass. So, yeah, keep it simple. Don't just watch the puck. So this one's an interesting one. We can see Kathy's getting just a little too close to Fiona here. A little awkward, but nonetheless, it still ends up working. One of the things I've kind of said in the past, it is preferable, in my opinion, that we have way more of a gap. Now, more width is usually going to be better because why? If there's a forechecker coming, if you're too close, it's so easy for him to just change directions like this. Now, if you're further, you're even further, they have more distance to cover, right? So that's you know, eventually works out. She does start to spread out a bit more, get more of a distance, but the effectiveness of the D2D passing is lessened the closer you are together, right? You know, that's pretty obvious. Now, big pass up to Alicia. Here comes the cream of the crop. Boom, she starts power move, drive to the net, shot, rebound, and Justin scores. But that was all Alicia. That was a big one. I don't think I've seen you do that. Go drive wide, beat the defender, crossover, 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 bomb towards the net, big shot. Holy smokes. And then a little easy tap in by Justin. That was a big one. Alright, who put the banana peels on the ice? Another example of puck watching. Oh my god, we're so lucky this guy just batted it out. But again, Kathy. Okay, this is gonna drive me nuts, man. So Alicia's coming in, cutting across, blah blah blah. What the fuck, Ray? What? Okay, not even just Ray. What is going on? What is this? What's with the crew? How is no one driving in the net? Do we need Russell to come out and start yelling for you guys? What is this? Nobody for her to pass to? Oh my goodness. Are you tired? If you're tired, you should go for a change. What's going on? You just staring? What are we watching? Oh my goodness. And then Fiona drives the net herself. But like, what's going on? Why is both our intermediate forwards not going towards the net? I'm shrugging here. I'm lost. I'm lost. And here we go. Bouncy puck. And Alicia comes in. Boop. Scores the goal. Let's go. 2 assists, 1 goal. That's wild. Alright, we got so lucky here because the ref forgot Emily was on our side and so obviously offside. This is like the most we both talked to him. It's like, isn't this offside? He's like, yes, it is, but I totally forgot that you're on the other team. Let's just watch this whole shift. Let's see if anything exciting happens. Not a bad pass attempt there. Oh, whoa, whoa! That was a good attempt. I'm going to use this clip as an example. So earlier, before I said, remember when it was kind of on the opposite side with Kathy behind the net, and Justin was kind of like scooting himself back this way, right? And I said, this is kind of mirrored now. This pass is way harder than this pass, right? And here we can see Fiona is on the right hand side of the net. Really nice angle. I would say to make it even better is if she actually scooted back a little bit more, like almost maybe 1-2 steps, and the angle right here, it's kind of sharp. It's not as nice as if you scoot back a little bit more to shoot at, right? A little bit more room to shoot at. And so that's the only difference. But you can see how easy was that pass, and nobody's there. A lot of net to shoot at. Oh my goodness, big chance. So yeah, that's the example. So now, funny enough, we have two forwards that can't score. So Justin and Alicia. Oh, I like that. That was like walking that blue line. Boom, gets in the middle. Boom, cuts across. That was a pretty sick play. It's so simple, but it's so good at the same time. And I do want to point this out for Justin. The moment Justin can't score anymore, man, you're so good at supporting. Like, you're going on those boards in the corners. If you can find that happy medium between scoring mode, where you just camp the crease all the time, and in that supporting role, and blend the two together, it's going to be so good. And like this whole shift was solid. And then we can see Alicia is covering for Kathy. Perfect. Kathy's staying down there. Yeah, maybe retreating too much back, Justin. I'd say you were in such a good spot before. But, you know, it still stands. And then Fion's coming in to... Oh, I see. That's what you're trying to do. Getting her to go in. I gotcha. And then Jordan gets it, and Justin's absolutely hauling ass. Couldn't quite catch him, but big save by Cliff. That was solid. But yeah, my statement still stands regarding Justin. So good at supporting when you have already scored a goal. So if you find that blend, it's gonna be game changing for you. Here's another good example. So Dave's leading him in towards the boards. We're trying to angle him towards the boards, and we need that wall, right? So that two-part equation, driving them into the boards, and we need that wall, and that is usually going to be Ernest, but it could definitely be Thomas here as well. And then, you know, it all kind of collapses because we don't have a wall, and then Dave can't continue that angling because Thomas is in the way, so it becomes difficult. But if we can kind of perfect that, that would be Yeah, it'll be game changing as well. Alright, so they've pulled the goalie. Here comes Jordan Hannon going crazy, skating all over the place. So now all we need to do is just tie up the people in front and make life difficult for them. Let number 31 go crazy, who cares, whatever. Yeah, let's just watch it. This is the last few moments. They've pulled the goalie. What can we do here? Oh, excellent. So Alicia gets it out of there. Now, at this point, we don't have to chase. It's a 6-on-5. So mostly for Alex and Alicia, we could definitely just dial it back a bit, because what are the risks? They can just send it up. Oh gosh, but good read by Fion. Now I've said before, again, right? The longer the distance the pass, the more time our G has to react, where you can just step up and poke check it off of them, right? And that's exactly what happens. Boom, he hasn't turned around quite yet, hasn't settled it down. Fion poke checks it and is able to kill the play down, and that's the end of the game. So yeah, pretty good game, 3-2 win.